Having had so much fun doing the little Oscar France transcription of the slow movement of the Mozart Clarinet Concerto, I thought I would raid more of my library and collection of instruments and come up with something else this weekend. And so I turned to, as it's Beethoven year, and I'm missing playing Beethoven, I turned to a transcription of the famous slow movement of the Beethoven Sonata Pathétique for piano, a transcription that was made by the French horn player and teacher François Brémond for Piston, this instrument, and piano. Chose it for various reasons. The Sonata Pathétique was actually one of the first Beethoven piano sonatas I learnt when I was a kid. It's always been a favourite, so it was a nice one to choose. And I'd known about this arrangement because François Brémond did quite a few transcriptions of pieces, and a couple of years ago I recorded his transcription of a Gounod song, and this transcription seems to be from a similar time, right at the end of the 19th century. Interestingly enough, it probably comes at a point in time, 1894 I think is around the time it was published, and it's a couple of years before Brémond starts teaching the unofficial valve horn class he took at the Paris Conservatoire. So around that time they were still teaching the natural horn. And that fact's interesting when I come to this instrument I decided to use. This is a Piston. That just means it's got piston valves, a bit like many modern trumpets have today. So we've got the piston valves there. But the pistons, in fact, were a later addition. These pistons were added by Boosey in London, I think around about 1918 they got added to this instrument. And this instrument would have ended up in London because it was exhibited at one of the big international exhibitions in... We've got a lot of information on the bell of this instrument. It was exhibited and it got a medal in London in 1862 and was then sold by W. Hanson of 22 Tavistock Street, Covent Garden. But at this point it wouldn't have had the valves, it would have been a natural horn. And if we go back even further, this natural horn, when it was exhibited in London, this natural horn is probably made by Marcel Auguste Raoux, one of the really big makers. We know that because there's various information. Again, we've got the name Raoux, maker to the Emperor, Rue Serpente, Paris. The fact that it says maker to the Emperor means that we can date it as being, I think 1852 was Napoleon III, so from 1852 onwards. And you've also got the rather nice MAR, Marcel Auguste Raoux Poinçoin. But you've also got the name Labbaye, who was the guy who bought up Marcel Auguste Raoux's business, I think about 1857. So my theory with this instrument, because of the address, because of the poinçon, it was probably some of the stock that Marcel Auguste Raoux sold on to Labbaye when Labbaye bought up the business. The other nice thing about this horn is, later in its life, it belonged to the great conductor Norman Delmar. This would have been the instrument that he started his career as a horn player on. So it's a nice little instrument to have. So yeah, I chose this instrument because it's the sort of instrument that would have been knocking around the late 19th century when Brémond was writing this transcription. So it's a hand horn which has had piston valves added. So this is the instrument I used for this weekend's little project.